Keegs, I'm very interested. How did you feel on that final lap during the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix?
How's that for an opening question?
Jeez. I don't think I can actually tell you. You're going to have to do a lot of editing to get it out. Yeah, there was a full-on rage because I actually missed the last bit because I was flying. Came back, was radio silence with my phone, didn't want to see anything. But it was very difficult to not see all the max videos. And but yeah, no.
I think I sent one of those videos.
I definitely wanted to throw things around. I was very upset.
A bit fuss.
But you guys have hurt my man. Don't know if he's coming back.
No, he's coming back, of course. Keegan, it's fantastic to have you on the show again. Thanks so much for joining us, pal. It was sort of late last year. Yeah. You were just starting the brand. You had done a lot of work already, but it was launch time. And so we're here today to actually hear how the hell has it gone? Because I think that's what people want to hear. You started it, no doubt you've come under, you've found a few things that have been more difficult than maybe you expected. And maybe some things have been easier. So Keegs, off to you, man. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on the show, gents. It's great to be back. The Flying Sox, it's been an emotional journey. I think it's actually been really enjoyable. It's so nice to have extra time and you spend that time on something that you've created. So yeah, it's been awesome. It's actually done very well. I've been quite shocked at the orders and the stuff that have come through, the supports. There's been many challenges. I've realized that I probably should have taken business in school. Because you get into phone calls and these guys are dropping things you've never heard of in your life, and the next thing you must try and talk the lingo, walk the walk, and you're out of your depth.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, you're swimming with sharks and you're just about to be eaten. But you either sink or you swim. And then you just take the challenges as they come and focus on the things that you do know, and if you don't know, just say you'll get back to them, to have some time to do some research. But it's been a great journey. A lot of exciting things have been happening, a lot of exciting things to come, and really enjoying it.
That's cool, man. I'm so proud of you, Keeks. We were actually chatting to a friend of ours, John Howell, yesterday. We did a podcast with him, and he actually mentioned, he said, you guys are promoting guys that have got all sorts of things going, like sunglasses and socks and everything. And we had a bit of a chat about that. Any regrets, I suppose?
No regrets. Like I just, as I said, I wish the one thing I knew was a bit more about the business side of things, and also social media. Like, man, that consumes your life.
So it's a time issue.
Yeah, it's nice because work was fairly quiet. So it's picking up now. But to be flying and doing that, and then you're still trying to enjoy your life, and you're still trying to get a handicap below 90 or below 20 on golf, it's very difficult to juggle all of those things. Yeah. So it's just time management, and to be honest, it's the business side of it is really enjoyable. The creation, the design, all of that's the really fun part, and that keeps you going. Also seeing all the posts, people wearing your socks, never gets old, man. Seeing your product around. I've had friends that have said, "Oh, I saw somebody cycling with your socks on," and it's just cool to see people that you never thought you'd come into contact with. It's opened doors with them. So the networking part of it's also exciting, which is quite good because I'm quite a sociable person. So
no, you definitely are. Have the sales so far met your expectations?
I think you always set a high bar for yourself. So but it's there and thereabouts. December, Jan, it's like a difficult period. A lot of people on holiday. January, nobody's got money. It's like the longest month of the year. And then
January only.
And then you come to Feb, and then nobody's got money because they've got to buy all the stuff for Valentine's Day, So it will come. I know. It's
Well,
just
let's
gotta
throw
put
it in
the
there.
hard work.
So if you want to buy a Valentine's Day gift
Yeah.
for your pilot husband or wife,
Socks.
a pair of socks.
Yeah.
Flying
The
Sox is
Flying
the way to go.
Sox.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't get
So
any
we'll
better
sort
than
that
that.
out, Keeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
Must just come on here more often. Then
Yeah.
I don't have to do
Yeah.
any social media.
Every
Yeah.
time I open my mouth, you look at me very nervous, like is Ryan about to drop a bomb again or something?
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Yeah.
Last time it was 10%. This time 20. I can imagine.
So I'm going to let you decide. I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always got time for the Brian Air podcast listeners, you know. So I mean, we can talk about it.
Do a deal and all in all.
Fantastic, Keeks. No, we're very proud of you, man. You said you were going to do it, and it was a mammoth task. You know, when Ryan first told me, I thought, Jesus, it's a fantastic idea, but to put it into action. And you know, Ryan and I wear these socks every day. They are my go-to socks.
Right.
There's no question.
Definitely.
I think that's like the most craziest part for me as well. I was never had a big fetish on like socks are socks, you know,
Yeah.
until you start getting into it, and then you're like, wow. And also now I can't wear any other socks. I'm just like, you have to wear your socks, and it's not just because they're your socks; they are so comfortable.
Yeah.
Like
They are so
it's
comfortable.
wild.
You actually can't also discount the feeling that you get from wearing a happy pair of socks. I never
Yeah.
understood it. I was the same, you know, because we had it drummed into us when we were in the airline. You must wear black socks only. You know, it was uniform. You weren't allowed to break the code.
Yeah.
And nowadays, you're wearing a fun pair of socks, and it's actually every now and again when you notice that you're wearing this cool design, it's actually
Yeah, it brings
there's
something
an element
else.
of this coolness, man. I dig it.
They're fun, but
Yeah.
I'm wearing the 03 left, 03 right ones today.
Not
the-
03 right, 03 right.
No, I got them right. 3 left and 3 right. And they're actually a really smart pair. You can actually wear it with a suit or something.
Yeah.
And people have commented like, what the hell's going on with your socks there? But when people look, even non-aviators, like those are awesome.
Yeah.
So you've got both there, and it really is. I mean, not just saying it because, the quality of them is superb.
It is.
And my wife will testament, I kill socks and shoes, and these socks have lasted. They're very, very good quality, and they're cool to run in and all the rest. So
Yeah.
no, well done, Keeks.
Thanks
Really,
very much,
really
yeah.
cool, man.
And I see our friends are obviously flying the brand as well. Dylan is cruising the sky.
Yeah,
He's doing quite
yeah.
a bit of flying lately, and
That's it.
he's
Yeah.
representing. So,
Dylan's not representing. Don't let Dylan fool you. He's not representing your socks. Dylan is trying to show off his calves.
Yeah, I must be quite honest. I was quite nervous about the socks getting over those bad boys.
Dylan is just showing off. He sends me a picture the other day, like check my socks, but meanwhile he's flexing his calf at like this real bodybuilder pose angle, you know.
Hey.
So I'm not gonna do the same.
Hey, if you got it flaunted,
Yeah,
I can't
100%.
flex anything without probably straining a
We-
whip string.
You and I can't flex anything at the moment.
Yes, and a calf muscle's hard to get. I've
Yeah.
tried.
I think that comes with the genes.
Yeah, 100%. Not Levi's.
But Keeks, no, in all serious, obviously one of the things we've pushed on the show as much as we can is a bit of productivity advice and telling people to go out there and try it. And I think you mentioned social media being quite a difficult, part of the business owner, because you have to do it, but it's free.
Yeah.
So if you go back, before social media, how did you advertise? Now we've got this sort of free, source of being able to reach a lot of people, just like this podcast, I guess. But social media, every day you can post, and it takes a hell of a lot of time, a hell of a lot of effort, but it's got to be done.
No, 100%. You can see straight away if you do not post or you are not active on social media, your visits to your website drop. I mean, it's so ridiculous, but at the same time, as much of the hard work that goes into it, and it might frustrate you at times, seeing the people visiting your website, seeing the link clicks, seeing them viewing your products, at the end of the day, it's all worth it.
Yeah.
I wish it was as easy as just saying post to Facebook, and you don't have to think about the captions. You don't have to do the editing of the pictures, The
one thing that I said to you when we were chatting before the show, and it definitely helped me, and maybe if there are any content creators out there that are, come up with this problem, but I find Jack Butcher actually mentioned this, visualize value. We've done a couple of their courses and that, and Jack's big into NFTs and that at the moment. But what he said is you have to have constraints. So you've got to limit yourself to what you're going to post, what hashtags you're going to use, so that you don't have to think about it every time you post.
Yeah.
You're going to spend 5 minutes thinking about a hashtag. It's 5 minutes that could have been used for something else. So put yourself some constraints with, but you've done that. I mean, when I see one of your posts, it's a Flying Sox post straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried to keep a template and a standard, and also with the hashtags. I mean, yes, you could hashtag anything. I couldn't believe that a hashtag can have so much value on it.
Yeah.
So I try and keep the hashtag standard, but also you try and have some fun with your hashtags as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
You got to have a bit of fun.
Hashtag sorry, not sorry.
I suppose what you're doing though, Keegs, is out of the ordinary for a pilot in essence. So it's not supposed to be easy. And Brian's mentioned this quite a bit in the last couple of weeks in conversation, the whole 80-20 principle. You obviously can expand more on that because you've gone quite deep into it. But
that's exactly what you're doing. I think if you've read the 80-20 principle, it's quite interesting. 20% of what you do will amount to 80% of the results.
Yeah.
And vice versa as well. You can spend 80% of the time doing something and that'll only give you 20% of the outcomes, the results. So the trick is to actually identify what's giving you the results and then hone in on that. But that 80-20 works for most things. I mean, if we all went out, if Ryan decided to, once in a while, pay for beers for all of us at Hangar G5.
I thought it was only just for me. You didn't pay for beers.
Yes, yikes make me sound like a schnuffer.
It would work out that 20% of the guys drank 80% of the beer. So it works for most things. So it's quite interesting but the key is to identify it. So Ron, if you don't get the hint on that one, bud, then I don't know what's coming.
Yeah, listen. I've been trying really hard not to use expletives on the show, but
we're representing
expletives. That's a big word.
Jokes aside, like you talk like it. I've actually had a bit of a competition thing going with the guys in the classroom the last couple of weeks, and it makes it fun. So we run a scorecard on the whiteboard as to certain things in the classroom, who's buying beers, and I've come off second best twice. I think in total I'm in for about 54 beers between a few MD guys and ERJ students. So,
but Keegs, what he doesn't tell you is he knows that they're going home pretty soon, so he's going to duck and dive them tomorrow to avoid the beers.
Yeah, but
it's okay. They roll over to me then.
Yeah, but with all the discounts and the coupons that come from Flying Sox, maybe the Brian Air podcast can cover the beers.
He's pushing already,
reaching.
Yeah, Keegs, obviously we have sort of promoted the productivity side, and starting a business, I suppose, falls within that. We try to encourage it, call it a side hustle, whatever you want. I don't even think side hustle is the right word, to be honest, because it's almost like having a child. You have to nurture it and see what the business needs, and then
is it really like having a child?
He doesn't know that.
No, that's true.
He's still got to take step one. When is that? That's in October. Eh?
Yeah. Gonna get married in October.
Ooh.
Keegs, is it open bar?
No. I know the people that are coming. No.
I noticed Valmarie got an invite.
Yeah.
Or save the date. I haven't
received an invite.
It said Valmarie and partner.
That leaves it very open-ended, bro.
Keegs, obviously, sorry, just getting back into it. I don't want to get too wild here. Small business challenges in South Africa. I mean, you start off, of course, it's a small business. No doubt you want to take this brand places. I mean, you've come up with challenges, and a lot of the people we talk to every week, they have either started a business or starting a business. Sometimes it's nice for them to know that the challenges they are facing are the same challenges that everyone else is facing.
Yeah, I think in South Africa, obviously, the main one that's reared its head again now is obviously HCOM. Mm-hmm. With them, it's very difficult because most of your things are online. So, I mean, if I want to design something, I need an online, I need a connection to the interwebs. It's very, very difficult with that. And then the second one that I'm finding now, because I'd like to go international, that is my ultimate plan, is to start being able to ship wherever you want in the world. It's just our location. It's one of the hardest, because people take you for a ride when it comes to shipping. I mean,
you're
got
not the first person that said that.
Yeah, you've got a sock that's 145 rand, and now somebody in America wants it, and they must pay 680, 700 rand for delivery.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Oh shucks, I keep bumping this thing. Sorry. I'll buy beers.
Not again.
But I know a friend that was trying to start drop shipping businesses early on in lockdown, because it seemed like a viable entity to follow, and because of our location in South Africa and the costs involved, it wasn't a feasible thing to follow. It's kind of unfortunate, really.
And you know why, Ryan, as well? I think a lot of the time what happens, what do we all do when we want to start something? You're going to start Googling and looking at videos and that. And how often, doesn't matter what you do, if you want to rebuild a car, if you want to buy an old motorbike, if you want, all the videos tend to be from the States.
That's it.
Yeah.
In aircraft, guys are buying Cherokee 6s for next to nothing and doing them up. I'm going to go and do that. And then you decide, cool. And so you go off, and then you realize in South Africa, a different story.
Yeah.
So the more info that we can send out about the stuff, the better. So, like Keegs, in all seriousness, your story is valid, because it might put a few people's minds at ease.
And it's very difficult to find. I'm pretty sure I spoke about it the last time, but like to find what they have in the States here. So yes, you can get a worldwide brand. Like I can use Shopify as an example, because that's what I use. It's great, but it doesn't have nearly as much functions as you would have in the States, in Europe, in Australia. And that's really, it's upsetting, because you'd think that there would be a plugin that you could get here in South Africa that can do the same thing.
Yes.
But then when you do find a similar plugin, then they charge you an arm and a leg. And for a startup, I mean, that's not something you want to obviously keep your costs down.
Sure.
So it's just frustrating, because of the potential of what your store can do, and where it can be. But unfortunately, unless you're going to spend big money on it, you're not going to get exactly what you want.
It's kind of frustrating. It's almost like that whole saying, in order to make money, you need to have money or spend money to make money. It's kind of frustrating. It's very inhibiting.
Yeah, and being a pilot in COVID,
that's not exactly the best platform to jump from. But it's cool. Like, we can walk this journey with you. And
although if you're still a pilot now,
I'm just really, I'm really stoked to have a job, but I see that the turn is coming. The rest of the world, things are happening.
No doubt.
It's definitely, I mean, just in the last week, we spoke about it a little bit last week in our podcast about, Emirates opening up their invitations to the guys that they had let go, and possibly later on in the year to other guys. And there's already crew that we've met in the last few days that are going back. That had left
people
prior to being let go, but have applied and they've been sucked in. So it's happening for sure.
I think if you're a pilot in SA right now and you have an FAA license, you are smiling. You're the happiest human in the world. Like literally.
As you said, the turn is look, if you're caught with your pants down now and you haven't got your license current and ready to go, then
it's your own fault.
It's your own fault, but because it is going to happen.
Yeah.
But to have made it through the pandemic, kids like yourself, you started something, but you still have your flying job, gives you nice options in the future going forward.
Yeah, 100%. So I was one of the lucky ones to keep it. And, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have been able to start my job, or I would have been able, it just would have taken a bit longer to start the Flying Sox. But yeah, it's an extremely humbling experience, COVID. But at the same time, it's exciting, the possibilities to come now.
Yeah.
So.
Ryan mentioned we were on another podcast earlier in the week or yesterday actually.
Mm.
And one of the things that sort of came up was it brought quite a few memories back to that initial sort of heartache, I suppose, if you can call it. We haven't really thought about it too much, Aaron. I mean, we try to block it out in some ways, but to actually go back to that point it was difficult almost to articulate what we felt then, because it was like, is this really happening or is this a joke? You know, it was quite rough.
It was quite rough. But what you and I have done in the last while, probably I would say over a year and a half, we've done our best to always look forward and block out that whole thing, because it actually doesn't serve any purpose.
No, it doesn't.
Dwelling on that. You know, you've realized, well, what's happened. You've got to fight your way out of it, and the only way out is forward. So we've done that pretty well, and I think that's why it was probably such a stark reminder when that gets brought up again. It's like, whoa, you know, that was a thing, but we're so focused on where we're going and the heights that we want to reach that's not even a thing, really.
I think 2022 is the year of positivity. You have to continue looking forward, because you can see the end now.
Keeks, that's something I want to ask you actually. I mean, you're a business owner now, you're in a different mind space, you're getting married, you've got this business, you're still a pilot, but you're a pilot and something else, which is, I think that is what's been missing all along from the pilot ingredient, if you can call it that. How much is motivation playing a role? Like, are you going out now in search of things that motivate you? I mean, you've already mentioned time-wise, there's work involved in getting these posts out. There's work involved. Ordinarily, you know, you would do a flight, you would go home, crack open a beer, put your feet up, and that would be your day. Now you're going home, working on your business.
Still cracking open a beer.
Yeah. whilst
my man.
But it takes motivation, and it takes people to motivate you and people to put you in the right, you know, I think Ryan's mentioned a few times, you know, a few podcasts that get him keen on, you know, they sort of vibe him up and, you know, get him in the right frame of mind. You know, what are you using at the moment to give you that motivation?
Yeah, I think obviously seeing sales at the end of the day, for me, that's one of the biggest motivation. Like, I don't know, you can ask Kelly. Whenever I see a sale, I'm like, I get like vibrating. I'm ready to go and ready to do it, and I now want to make more. You know, so that's a big one. But also, just like outside of the business, to keep me going, it's just seeing things now starting to open up again. Seeing so many, as much as it frustrates me, seeing so many cars on the road, like it's great.
Getting stuck in traffic.
That's
again.
It's small things like that, and then also, I mean, just seeing lots of good stories. You know, like you always hear, obviously watch your podcasts, and you see all the good that comes from your guys' podcast, and you hear all the good stories. And I mean, the good comes with the bad, but the good is starting to outweigh the bad. And you're hearing a lot of more positive things. And I think for me, I work with positivity. So if I surround myself by positivity, I'm going to be positive, and that's going to motivate me.
Surround yourself with positive people.
That's it.
It's the only way to do it, man. A question for you. Do you think now through this, I mean, you've only been at what, 4 months into this?
Yeah, it was
since
10th
you
of
launched
November,
it?
I think. Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, you've been working hard at it a long time
sorry,
before that.
You're not going to ask him for money or anything.
Not yet. I'm building up. Just cool your jets, man. I decided I'm not going to come in that hot. I'll try a flatter approach this time.
2.5, 2.7.
Keep it 3 reds.
That usually gives the best landings. Don't stress.
That's when you go below the slope and you tell the captain, I'm going 3 reds.
Non-standard.
And that's because you're chasing the grease.
That's how I roll, man.
Now I've put him off.
I was going to say, is it your mission to continuously derail me, bro? Luckily, I'm so focused, and I'm going to get into something just now, but we'll get back to that. But do you think that if you were going to try and set up a business doing something completely different now, obviously through what you've learned in the last couple of hours, you're better prepared? Spotted a few more
I think
roadblocks?
Definitely, like, you the more you do, the more you learn. So, I mean, if if I had to start a business now, I'd probably do some things differently. I'd be more prepared for it. I would have done, I mean, I did a shitload of research when it came to the socks and getting the right product. But I think
was that in terms of who was making the product, how you were selling the product, where you were hosting the product?
Yeah, it was
everything.
Coming to bringing it all together. So the online store, finding the correct supplier. I mean, that's the most important thing, because that's what your end product's going to be. So you want your people to be happy. At the end of the day, yes, I could have 1,000 people buying my products, but if only 10 are happy with them,
then they're going to buy it once.
That's it. And I mean, I've had a few return buyers already. So
really,
they are. So it's actually just because they bought some.
Were they SAA pilots?
Nasty.
So it brings you a good feeling about that. But I'd definitely be more prepared. You learn a lot by doing. So the more you do, as I say, the more you're going to learn. And if you are open to things, not just shutting it down, you then already 50% of the way. And you're going to teach yourself something, or you're going to learn from others. And to be honest, my partner Kelly, she's like, my fiance, I've got to keep used to her.
Fiance now, bro.
She's taught me so much just from the business side, and it's actually amazing.
That's awesome. Kelly's quite a smart girl, and
sometimes too smart.
Yeah,
but you do need that support structure at home.
You need that balance.
You the same. You got to go home, it's going to be late, and you're on the computer, baby might be crying, and but you've got to do the work, and they allow it to happen.
Every time you mention baby, this guy gets tense. It's actually not that bad.
I get nervous.
Seriously. The last time I had sleep was about 3 weeks ago. So
that's great.
Still going.
Don't even want to talk about terrible twos.
That's why he looks like that.
And I've got more coming. Anyway,
I thought he's delusional. It's giving out discounts and stuff all the time.
It's just fatigue, bro. Just fatigue. But how about your creativity? Are you finding that you're becoming like
100%? I never thought I had a creative bone in my body. To be honest, I thought my sister got all of them. She was like the creative one. And I'm getting full use out of it. No, so just like the creativity part of it, I thought was where I'm going to be lacking, but that's actually where I'm actually shining, like in my eyes anyway, because nobody can see what happens behind the scenes.
And it's a cool feeling to know, hey, I'm proud of this.
It's really, really awesome to think. You think back and you're like, no ways, right? Give me like this a year ago, I would have just been like, okay, well, this is too difficult, or I'd never be able to create a sock. I'd never be able to think of a design. And now I'm thinking of like, I'd get home from flying, or I'd get home from golf, or I'd get home from somewhere, and I'd be like, I need to do that. Then you design it, and then you see it, and you're like, wow.
I love what you just said there. I love what you just said. The first thing was, this is too difficult. And how many guys stop themselves right there? At that first instance, like, this would be a great idea. But it's too difficult. And they don't push.
There's too many obstacles.
And that's the first hurdle to get over. Once you've pushed through that, man.
And that's a mental hurdle too.
Exactly. It's a self-imposed restriction.
I always say 80% up here, man. If you can get over your own insecurities and your own inhibitions of it, man, you are then you've already created something.
Awesome, man.
Very proud of you, Keeks. Well done, man.
And thanks to you guys for always punting it. I really appreciate it.
No, of course, man. That's what we are for. We're big fans. We wear them every day. And we would actually go. They're going out for the guys that are doing command, guys and girls, doing command upgrades here at Samero. They're going to be getting a pair of the Captain Flying Sox. So very cool. The ones with the 4 bars at the top.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
I love those. I really dig those captain ones. And you mentioned that there's some new designs on the way as well.
Yeah, so there's a lot of exciting things happening. As I said, I'll obviously want to go international by hopefully the first quarter of this year. It's just obviously finding a good reputable courier.
Al Macaulay from Canada. Canada needs good socks.
There we go.
You see, so obviously that's one of the main goals. And then new designs, to continuously bring in new designs. So I'm hoping, I'm not setting a date, but by end of March, hopefully there'll be 6 new designs coming in.
Oh, brilliant, man.
So
Cool.
yeah, that will, and it's I'm excited about them, man.
Oh,
Hey, we
fantastic.
look forward to
We're
it 'cause
excited about it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure by March.
I've
6
got all of them. I
Yeah, I
think.
bought. I don't know. I mean, like, I bought every single pair you got. So by March, I'm gonna need at least 6 new replacements.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I've got about 4 pairs of 3 left and right because they're my go-to sock. But yeah, no, well done, Keegs. Very, very proud of you, man.
Thank you.
Going into, should we talk about a bit of news? There's a bit of news.
Might as well. Eh?
Okay?
Yeah.
We are an aviation podcast
So they say.
presented by 2 very well esteemed aviators.
Where are they?
Yeah. Could have fooled me.
Yeah.
Funny.
Watch Carte Blanche on Sunday.
Yes.
What?
I think
The story.
everybody watched Carte Blanche on Sunday.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, that was the SACIA made an appearance there. Bit one-sided, I thought, that one.
Yeah, I don't think that story went as well as Carte Blanche had hoped. It was a very
I don't think they
it was
quite.
a big misrepresentation, to be
I
honest.
think so. Well, Ryan, it's a hard one to call without all the facts. But so is pilot error ruled out totally? Or
I wouldn't discount that at all,
Yeah.
man. You know, in any seafit accident, and I'm running the risk of getting shot down heavier, but that cannot be dismissed.
no?
I think if I read the reports, they said that Ethiopian didn't rule it out completely, but they did say that there is pilot error, but there was obviously a lot more behind that.
No, I fully agree. I mean, look, if you go and read The Naked Pilot, David Beatty, thanks Jason, because he gave me that book. So many of these accidents have an element of pilot error in it.
Yeah.
It's a bit difficult to.
But I also think it's an easy cop out, though. If you always see any investigation, they go straight for the pilots.
Yeah, it's a good point.
They always will.
Always
Yeah.
will. It's the easiest target.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was the best representation of
No.
what happened there.
No.
Guy
Yeah.
Leach wrote a decent article, a bit more accurate. If you want to check that out, that would be the one to check.
Yeah, I would leave that sort of thing to aviation journalists per se, rather than
Not you and me.
No, we do better at giving bad financial advice.
Yeah, buy Bitcoin. Yeah. Okay. Bit of COVID news though. Who thought that in 2022 we'd be talking about positive COVID news? But there is some.
Yeah.
South Africa's dropped the requirement for people who test positive for COVID-19 but have no symptoms to self-isolate. That's quite a big thing. Marked turnaround from the initial approach of the pandemic or the virus. We had one of the strictest lockdowns in the world, so that's quite a big thing. And it's a bit of a move in the right direction. And I don't know about you, but there seems to be a bit more action going on. They are doing a bit more work, certainly here around Denell at the moment. It's looking quite nice. It's almost like they're preparing for something.
Like the sale of an SOE.
Yeah, possibly.
Not again.
No, not the liquidation.
Sorry, wrong phraseology.
Yeah,
It's all the same to me.
yeah. Look, it is a move in the right direction. We would have bought that a year ago at this time if they were talking about stuff like that. So that's a great thing.
No, look, we were talking about it just before the show started between the three of us. I think, can all there's an end in sight. I mean, even if like countries like New Zealand are starting to open up their borders from the end of this month.
Is it this month?
February.
Yeah, so they're looking at it from the end of this month, and then want to be fully open from October. Which is a very long period.
This actually beautifully sums up the Brian Air podcast, Ryan. we host a show about aviation news, trends, events, and all that. So the guest on the show is like, "No, Oaks, have you heard about New Zealand?" We're like, "What? Wait, when did that come up?" No, I read it earlier.
So the conversation actually, because I know Gareth Cliff talks about, I think her name's Jacinda something. He always gets Jacinda, the Prime Minister of New Zealand. I don't even know what her name is, but I don't even know where New Zealand is.
Jacinda.
Something like that. But I mean, I I lost track now. But
Yeah, she's quite hectic.
Keegs
Yeah.
was the one that brought the
Yeah.
the
thanks
news.
for the New Zealand
Yeah.
news.
No, it's a pleasure.
Thanks.
Hopefully our ratings go up there now as well.
Yeah. Spurries is flying to Mauritius.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Is that on the back end of they're going to compete against Fly Safair and British Airways?
Yeah, well, they do compete against them. I love this. I love this. What was said though? I assume it was the CEO.
Is there a
SAA has also recorded a 100% completion rate. The percentage of completed scheduled flights, excluding uncontrolled cancellations.
That sounds like a great stat. Eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100% completion rate, excluding the uncontrollable cancellations.
I wonder if that was written by the same guy that wrote the article from the student pilot that did the low fly past last week
sounds
that you
like-
mentioned.
Oh, with
Oh,
the prop hitting
they
the.
hit
That oak is
Wow.
probably the chief pilot
Flashing.
now, so don't even go there.
I bet you that was written by the same person.
Probably.
I would love
Yeah.
to know what they consider an uncontrolled like
Look,
cancellation.
Obviously, there's a lot of there's the COVID cancellations and all that, but most cancellations, as you know, Keegs, flying in an airline, are uncontrolled. It's not like
Who
you
would-
plan to have the bloody aircraft break down.
Yeah.
You know, if
Well, I
there's
mean-
an MEL item there and it's no dispatch, is that uncontrolled? Of course, it's uncontrolled.
I don't know.
You would-
Other companies have delay codes. Eh?
Yeah.
They have uncontrolled cancellations.
Serious?
Like,
Jeez, I've been out of the game for too long. But yeah, a bit of an advisory for that person that wrote that article. Grammarly.
Grammarly.
Yeah.
Grammarly. No,
Yeah.
I offered that, Brian, to you, and you said, Brian, that is too expensive for me.
if you guys can't afford Grammarly, you must try Dylan Squirrel. He's quite a few times I've messed up on my posts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might have not capitalized an I
The
or
guy with the
something.
carbs.
Yeah.
Does he
and,
correct you?
True as Bob. Eh?
No
Can
ways.
you believe that an Afrikaans oak was, in his words, correcting a Soti on his English?
No ways.
Yeah.
No ways.
So it's cheaper than Grammarly.
Well, there
Get
it
yourself
is.
a Dylan.
There's your Brian advisory. If you want to contact Dylan, it's 083 456.
Or catch him on LinkedIn.
Yeah, catch him on LinkedIn. No, good advice there, Keeks.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
That's a pleasure.
But look, guys, the turnaround is happening. You see these little hints or highlights that it's going to happen. Even in the UK, there's sort of positive stuff coming out of there. Speaking of that, delays are quite a big thing in Europe. So if you delayed in Europe, the airline has to compensate you as a passenger.
Yeah.
It's a big thing.
Big money.
And
as
people
well.
almost like, hey, I've never seen people happy to be delayed, but you do in Europe because there's big money involved. You get quite a decent payout.
I've experienced that.
Yeah.
On a trip coming back from France, I can say it now because I'm probably they're not going to penalize me now. But Air France got to the airport. I was due to come back home, and as we got to check in, they said, "Oh, sorry, your flight's been delayed till tomorrow." I said, "Why?" I said, "No, the A380 is stuck in New York." So they hook you up in a hotel in Paris, give you meal vouchers, sort you out, 24-hour delay. It was cool. I went and had beers and chow and checked a bit of Paris.
Yeah.
Next day, got on a flight. Okay, it was about 18 hours delayed. Did a daytime flight back home. And then I'd heard about this compensation policy of theirs. I jumped on their website. I think I got back, I won't lie, it was about 500 euros.
Yeah, that's a decent amount of money.
For a ticket I didn't even pay for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's
Thanks,
cool.
taxpayer. The UK says so anything an hour delay, there's a possibility, there's a chance you get 25% of your ticket price back.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
For a 1 hour, up to 1 hour delay, which is, as you know, I mean, we were regularly delayed more than 1 hour.
Yeah.
So, that's quite a cool thing. They don't have the system in the States, by the way, which is, so it's a bit of a topic that they are trying to bring up there in America.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Yeah.
The delays in the States right now because of
Yes.
pilot shortages.
Yeah.
Big time.
I mean, nuts.
Big time.
So it pays to read the fine print. Eh?
It does.
Sometimes.
You might be owed a decent amount of ZAR or euros.
But it just
better.
shows you, like, you can see, I don't know, I think it's a South African complex. Like, you let's say they had a system like that in South Africa, the pain of going through that
Oh,
whole
can
application
you
process.
No, but this isn't. Don't compare it to that. It is not like that at all.
So like when you go to a place where things are obviously a lot easier, you're very hesitant. You're like, oh, I don't want to go through that.
No,
you
it's
know?
a different. It's a total different story there.
That's good.
100%. Yeah.
Part of the conversation there was going towards the States and the delays because of pilot shortages.
Yes.
So United have gone and they've purchased an entire flight training facility now.
They have?
Yep.
Wait.
You asked me a difficult question, yeah. It's in Goodyear, Arizona, Ryan.
All right.
Yeah. And so the plan is to train pilots. Yeah, these pilots will then progress into the United flight deck. That's because of pilot shortages. That's the reason. They bought an entire flight school, and yeah, it's got to produce pilots. They need pilots.
That's insane.
Yeah,
That's flipping awesome. Though.
and it's not this isn't a Springs flight school. This is a decent.
It's going to be like an Embry Riddle type thing, I'm sure.
What's wrong with Springs?
No, nothing wrong with Springs, but
Brian, this disclosure.
Yeah,
it comes from Springs.
Sorry, Keith.
Yeah, born and bred.
Yeah, I knew that haircut came from somewhere. Yeah, but look, 10,000 new pilots that they're looking at pushing through the school in the next few years. So it's a lot of flight training going on. That's to bridge that gap. It's quite remarkable, actually. But what else can they do other than employ some needy South Africans?
Exactly. Yeah. And we've said how many times when that happens, man, this place
is going to be a vacuum.
Can you imagine? We're looking for a pilot, and all you're going to hear is crickets.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey?
Yeah. At the point where it comes that they do open up because the Australians and that have possible opportunity to get in there. There's no doubt. It's going to happen, guys.
Yeah.
Guy like you, Keegs. I mean, all right, here's a question.
Feel nervous about this one.
Yeah, here's a deep one. Because it's a deep one for me. What do you do with this thing that you've built? I mean, you've built a brand. You've built a little person. It's a living thing. So are you out looking for flying opportunities and perhaps having to drop this at some point? I know with myself, and rather than throw you in at the deep end, it's always something on my mind. And I think what gives us a little bit of an edge, Ryan, is how many guys are out there as current airline pilots, we're still holding a valid license, but can actually do what we do. If we go fly for an airline tomorrow, I'm pretty sure that they're going to say, listen, that podcast that you do, give it a break for a minute. So
please don't talk shit about us.
So it's always something in the back of my mind, and I hope no one ever has to put me in that position where I have to decide, because it would be a very, very tough decision.
That's actually a very difficult question. At this moment, I don't know. I love South Africa, so I don't see myself moving on right now. Besides that, I've still got a bond at my current company.
Seriously?
Yeah. So I would like to sit that out, and I'm pretty happy in South Africa. So right now, that hasn't even crossed my mind. Obviously, further on, you always want to get to that next level, but whether that next level be in my business or whether it be in flying, I haven't made that decision yet. So it's something that I'll get to when I get to. It's not something that I've looked into now. There's so many opportunities that I believe will come in the future, and it's
a good answer, Keeks. I like it. I think as time goes on, you get compound interest on things, you put in work in one area and it tends to, compound. And
that is undoubtedly the most difficult question you could throw at a guy in this position now, because you're trying to, prior to COVID, it would definitely be you were chasing heavy metal, living, wanting to live that dream, and you've worked so hard on something else on the side now. It almost splits your.
But is that not one of the things that stops people from starting something? We're also talking about the fact that things are opening up they're canceling these restrictions and all the rest. So I'm about to start this business. Do you go and start the business, or do you just wait for things to turn around?
But yeah, what's stopping you from going and chasing what you want to do? Let's say your dream is Emirates, for example, and then you go to Emirates and getting somebody else to run your business for you.
Yeah,
it would be difficult decision to make and to find somebody that would be willing. But I mean, at the same time, anybody that has an interest in aviation, and there's a lot of youngsters coming through the ranks, I'm pretty sure that they'd be more than happy to try and help you run a business. And
that's a very good point.
If you want to make it work, you make it work.
Yeah.
Essentially, what you are saying, and I'm reading between the lines, is don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
You must do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
If your goal is your goal, achieve your goal.
Yeah.
Set it out and do it. And if you don't want to do it, then that's your own problem.
That's powerful, Keith. Yeah.
You caught in your own head.
Very profound, young man.
Thank you. I'll try.
I'd say. I'd buy you a beer for that one.
No, it's a good answer. But I think it's a genuine question. If there are people now waiting to say, well, I've got this thing, it's all set up, ready to go, but you know, the industry's turning around. Let me just wait for that industry turnaround. I think maybe I must ask someone this that's been for an interview lately. But if I was going to interview someone today for a job, the question, interview a pilot specifically for a job, one of the questions I'd ask would be, what have you done during the pandemic?
That's going to be the first indicator of how dynamic or motivated or driven a person is.
Yeah.
We've said that from the beginning.
And if you've watched Ozark and Emily in Paris 3 times like myself, then...
But that's a great question that you're bringing up, because what we don't realize now is, like, we always think of pre-COVID times, and you think of an interview, you had to go take your CV out. I think a lot of recruitment companies are going to start looking for pilots because there's an abundance of pilots, and they're going to see what's different.
Yeah.
What is different about you than the rest of the OX I'm employing? Where it used to be there was that pilot shortage, and it eventually came, and it would be like, well, you meet the requirements. You're not mad in the head.
Yeah.
You've got a job. You know, now it's like, okay, what is different? That's separates you from the rest of the guys that are sitting outside waiting to be in the same position you are now.
I'm also going to probably reach out and say, doesn't it display a bit of leadership skills? I mean, the guys that have actually decided to actually take the bull by the horns, go out there and do something. It's a clear indication of...
Yeah, I wouldn't leave it off. Even if you don't start the business, I wouldn't leave it off the CV. No, put it on the CV. This is what I did. Don't leave that bit blank, you know, from end of 2019, you know, up to now. You know, put what you did there, whether it was a successful outcome or not.
Yeah.
You know, you need to show that you did something there. And a lot of guys have tried. So let's face it, from the beginning, right? I mean, a lot of the guys we know have tried to do something. Not all of them have got to the point where you are now, Keegs, where the product is actually going out. A lot of them got to the sort of just before there. But you know, put that on the CV. It still holds some weight.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to touch a bit of a nerve here as well. But like at the moment, how many times do you open up a LinkedIn profile and you get these messages? Congratulate so and so for
exactly
19
years at SAA, or
it's a good
13
point,
years at SA Express. And I'm slowly but surely getting more and more frustrated seeing it. Like, guys, surely by now you must have.
No, that's an excellent point, Ryan. That is an excellent point. I fully agree. If you're a business owner and you're looking at employing someone, and I think even the big airlines, they would look at something like LinkedIn.
Sure.
LinkedIn is a totally different tool. It's literally like a CV in social platform.
You can actually use that as a CV. You can use that format as a CV.
Yeah.
I actually think we must talk about, you make a very valid point. You see it coming up and it's an indication
that you have
not moved on,
and you are not prepared to
go and change your profile page and get the employment section in order.
Make it current, make it relevant.
And you get a message. It says, you know, congratulate so-and-so for 15 years at, exactly like you said, SA Express.
Yeah.
And you look at that is such a negative for that person that they don't actually even realize. So social media can work for you. It can work heavily against you.
Yeah. Exactly.
No, 100%. I think LinkedIn is, I mean, that's your, it's not Facebook, it's not Instagram.
No,
It's your
go-to.
literal go-to for business.
Yeah.
And you've got to separate that. You can't be posting what you are posting on Facebook onto LinkedIn. It's your business profile, and that's where the recruiters are going to go look.
They're going to look.
Then they're not going to look at your Facebook profile, because then I have to be a friend with you. I have to Instagram. I have to follow you. Whereas LinkedIn, they can see, unless you've got a closed profile, but you're obviously on there for a reason.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think LinkedIn is a very, very good tool to be using.
Yeah. Al McCorney makes a very good point here. He says previously a gap in a CV was a real negative. From his recent experiences, 3-year interview process, it is less so far now. So obviously COVID would create an understandable gap in someone's CV, but
also gives you a chance to stand out.
You could fill it with something. Well, while I was unemployed as a pilot, I tried this.
Yeah, it's a case by case like standard, like
For
obviously some folks would have been actively looking for work if they had no work, and then they've gone and they've maybe been into 3-4 interviews. But you can't put that on a CV. But if you for example, something like you just sprung to mind, like if you were doing landscaping, you're doing gardening, put that in. It shows that you're trying to diversify yourself and you're trying to learn a new skill just to keep yourself going until something better comes along.
Ryan only manscapes. Landscape.
I don't know. Have you seen yet?
The buttons closed. I don't even know if I would agree with that. But anyway,
this is an aviation show.
Oh, sorry.
You guys took it below the belt.
No. It was always taken south by you.
Negative.
Qatar Airways has ordered 34 Boeing 777-8 freighters. So,
sorry, I just wanted to talk about this. How hectic is that? That something that's now become a social media feud, literally, with Qatar and Airbus.
Wow, I haven't heard about it.
Haven't you? No, really. And now they've gone and then they've got the 747 freighter or the and now they've got 737 Maxes on the way.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
Wow.
That's exactly what it is, Keegs. It was a social media feud, and they've changed a multi-million-dollar deal to the other manufacturer.
Another massive point of contention in that subject is, prior to that, you'd send a CV and they're like, no, we only accept your CV if you've got Airbus time.
Yeah.
They're going to change their tune now because it's not going to help them.
Good call.
Now they're going to be looking for Boeing drivers.
Good call.
Even if it's a Cherokee 6 or a Buddha Boeing.
Yeah.
Doesn't it just make you feel like, though, there's a bit of arrogance from Airbus's side, though? Like, do you think that there's actually... Yeah, now finally I can ask a question to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not think that then there is something behind Qatar's reasoning if they are so serious about it and they are willing to go and post a video of all their aircraft that have this surface defect?
I think they've got shareholders they have to answer to, and they can't use those planes because they've got a serious surface defect. And they, the painters, they've posted those pictures, and maybe the response wasn't what they wanted. The client is always right.
Absolutely. But is it only Qatar that's having a problem with this paint
that's what
issue?
I wanted to know.
Why is it only Qatar?
Because Qatar's the only ones that are flying the A350.
Well, it's about 1 million degrees out there, so maybe
you got Singapore and all the guys out there. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know, Ron, to be honest, but it was a social media thing that boiled into this. And now look, they 16 777-8Fs on order, 777 freighters. 737 MAX 10s look like they're coming now, obviously at the demise of 320s.
Isn't it funny?
So once again, it just highlights social media.
The power.
The power of social media. This used to be contended in the back of a office somewhere. Here's a contract, or this is what we believe. Now it's like, cool, you don't want to say anything. We're going to say something on social media and get you to act. And
it'll
if you
make
don't
you
act,
and break you.
And if you don't act, then what?
It's crazy, yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Things have done a 180.
No, they have. Most of the news is with Boeing this week, actually. So American Airlines, they're converting 7 existing options for the 737 MAX into firm orders, bringing its total firm count of MAX orders to 30. And the Maxes are being sold. Ethiopian did a bit of a test flight through the week. They're going to be using the Maxes again. So yeah, Boeing very much a bit of a comeback. Yeah, last year was all about Airbus.
Yeah.
Everything was Airbus.
I think you can make a good personification of the 737 Max and COVID. Like literally, you could say went through its time and now it's going away, and the 737 Max, it's like whatever happened in the past is in the past.
Yeah,
and people are carrying on.
I nearly thought that you were going to make the sort of correlation to the 737 Max and Verstappen for a second, but I know that would be below your.
No, that's below the belt, right?
Yeah, that Keegan wouldn't even go there.
We know.
I mean, because how's about that Max comeback?
Yeah,
you know, just rubbing it in there.
I think I might just leave.
We know he supports Madam Hamilton. Just leave it.
I couldn't let that
you
one
guys,
go.
please.
We were talking about Qatar.
Yeah.
They pretty much they're quite heavy in the news actually.
They are.
Do you want me to start it off?
Go for it.
Disclaimer: have you ever had any interest in going to work for Qatar?
There was this one time
at band camp,
because after that, it's not going to happen.
Okay.
You see what they've done with these lawsuits to try and get P. Prune to give out the names of the pilots that posted negative things about their employer.
Oh, gee whiz. Yeah, what's happening there?
Well, yeah, it's an ongoing thing. It goes quite deep. I mean, they actually went to a US court to get Google to actually disclose the names of these pilots that have voiced something negative.
Yeah.
You know, okay, first of all, if Jordan Peterson was here, he would say, well, define negative.
Yeah, that looks
so
would
what
turn into a 4-hour podcast.
So what is negative? But look, this bit of information from the air current. Qatar, they eliminated 20% of its workforce in 2020, another 27% in 2021. Airline dwindled to 33 destinations in 2020, but quickly snapped back to more than 140 last year in a bid to ramp up its pilot corps. Reuters says the airline was undercounting work hours to maximize operated flights while technically playing by the rules. So it goes on and on. I mean, the one pilot just says to Reuters, 93 minutes of active flight time on the flight deck was counted only as 3 minutes logged time. So these oaks are tired. Another 2 first officers logged 115 hours in the first 2 weeks of January. 115 hours in the first 2 weeks of January. You and I flew about 115 hours in
our
1 year.
Sex.
No, but it goes on, and then obviously research is involved, and it talks about pilot fatigue and all this stuff. But we can't ignore it. If you fly too hard and you fly too long and you're tired, you will make mistakes.
Listen.
So, do you want a tired pilot or do you want a well-rested one?
Exactly.
So choose wisely.
That should just come back to just employ more pilots then.
Exactly. But there aren't enough, Keeks. There aren't enough.
Oh, apparently, yeah.
They're not enough pilots.
Yeah, it's not enough because there's oaks that are sitting at home, but they're not pilots anymore because they're sitting at home, man.
Yeah. You can't discount the unhappiness with the guys at Cathay. There's lots of videos doing the rounds where guys are actually...
That's on another level.
I mean, it's quite something now for a Cathay pilot to become this vocal. You must know. Guys are sending out videos, and I get a lot of them, where the chap's taking video in the hotel room, and he's saying, well, you know, I'm on a loop now of 28 days, and this is my life. From the airplane, I get bussed. I'm not allowed to touch anyone, talk to anyone, contactless, everything. You get escorted up a different elevator into a hotel room. And then
what emotional state is that guy in?
That's it, 100%. Exactly. It messes with your emotions. Like I've got one of my mates, he's a P3. I mean, a P3, he goes November. Cool. Things were starting to look good before Omicron or whatever came in. They were flying, said goodbye to his wife like on the 2nd. Came back the 28th of November, 26 days without, and now there's no flying all of a sudden just because of the quarantine rules there.
Yeah.
And I mean, that affects your mind because you're getting your hopes up because yes, you are flying, but then you've got to sit in quarantine.
No.
And sitting in quarantine can't be good for you. But at the same time, you're happy that you're flying because you've just sat on a period of no flying. And then you go back to no flying. And it's just, I can't even imagine how those oaks are feeling. Man.
We've spoken about babies maybe one too many times on this show today. But can you imagine that, in all seriousness, Ryan, can you imagine the emotional state it puts, a husband or a wife, a father or a mother, when you're away from your child because of government-imposed restrictions that we all know, we don't really say because this video might get taken off.
Exactly. Or you might
but it's all a load of absolute rubbish.
Exactly.
And you know it. You know it in the back of your mind. This is a joke.
Exactly.
And then you are forced to be away from the people that you love the most. It's horrendous.
To me, that's just the worst thing that can happen to a person. Really, being pulled away from your friends and family for stupid
for
rules.
Long periods.
Yeah, we must be careful because we don't want Bon Jovi to take all his music off Spotify if we carry on.
Oh,
wow. Let's carry on so Bon Jovi does take his music off Spotify.
Sure.
Look, maybe this can lead into something else. Obviously, a place like Qatar, we all know here in South Africa, most of us with the airlines, you've got a union. And, we saw Grant back quite often during the SAA side on his yacht there in the Mediterranean. There's a bit of protection there.
Yeah.
And you go to a Middle Eastern carrier, there isn't. There's no trips to the CCMA because you think you've been hard done by. Yeah. If they want you gone, you're gone. Now, if they had been listening, these guys that were posting on P-Prune, if they had been listening to the Brian Air podcast, they would have been using a VPN.
Yeah, exactly.
They would have purchased a VPN on recommendation by Brian back in, when was it? Mid-2021.
Yeah.
Guys, honestly, in all seriousness, you need a VPN.
And your Netflix is better with a VPN.
Exactly.
There's only one reason why I think the guys probably didn't go with a VPN.
Because they were never at home.
They'd taken some of our financial advice before.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It might be a bit expensive. But Ron, honestly, come on. If this is happening where companies can actually come in and subpoena Google and the likes to disclose information, get a VPN.
Exactly.
Make your VPN in the south of Delhi or something, and they'll never have a cooking clue who posted that thing. Honestly.
They won't nab you. Yeah.
No, but it's fair
crazy
point.
that you have to go to those lengths to.
But you do,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fact. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Those guys that were there, if they were maybe posting in their room there in Doha.
It's
game
crazy,
over.
Man.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was my main story.
Now listen, today's been a ripper. I've had a lot of fun.
It's been a joy.
No.
It's always a joy. Keegs, it's fantastic to have you on. And a lot of people have joined us as well, which is quite nice.
Yeah, it was stacks of visitors today.
Leon came in here at the beginning. Wow, straight into it. That was, Leon, not the biggest Lewis fan. So thanks, Leon. There's my old man there.
I can say a lot to Leon right now, but I'll keep quiet.
Yeah. Dale Williams, afternoon. Guys, Janet, of course, all the time. Menth, Estrom, Laugh Out Loud, Brian. We're both wearing 3 right and left socks right now. Pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I've mentioned L's comments already. And Dale says COVID definitely forced a lot of people, pilots especially, out of their comfort zones. There's no doubt about that. Dave Sterling always supporting us as well. Afternoon, gents, just signing on for the late one. Looking forward to listening tomorrow. Cheers.
Awesome.
Your mom, Ryan, always a big support of us. Well done to you guys for keeping positive attitude despite all the heartache in the last 2 years. Your inspiration to many of us. Thanks, Jill.
How's it, Jill?
Yeah, been a big supporter.
Yeah, all the time.
Alia says, kudos for trying. Most successful people have many failures that have led to their success. Having the courage to start something and see it through is fantastic. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Here's a question. Yeah, Zoe Berger. Would you be able to do socks for small business with our logo on? Yeah, that's a thing, Keegs. Are you looking at doing things for other business, or is this now purely a Flying Sox thing?
So, I mean, I'm always open to it. Obviously, if I can accommodate you and it aligns with what you want, and it aligns obviously with your pocket, then I can help you out. I can't promise you that I'm going to give you everything that you want, but I'm going to try my best. So yeah, if you can do it for small business, if you want it for your small business, I can definitely get into contact with you, or you get into contact with me, and we can try and see if we can come to a compromise. I'm always willing to help people out. So
good one.
I actually see an opportunity there because there's an opportunity for collaboration there with small business. Zoe Berger, come to think of it, is the woman that owns the barber that I go to regularly. It's called Kafer and Bart. Yeah. No, I'm telling you, gents, there's a place you want to go and have your hair cut where you go and you get made to feel like an absolute gentleman. It's this place.
Yeah.
Yes,
Get in
and
there.
if they can make Ryan feel like a gentleman,
Yeah,
then they
you
must be good.
know,
They must
you
be
must
doing
know.
something right.
You don't get this.
It normally feels like an old lady.
Yeah. Anyway, no, it's a cool vibe.
Yeah.
The whole place, it's a great setup, and you get the option. What do you want to drink with your haircut? So whiskey or a beer, water. You can even have coffee if you're feeling
Do they
that way
give tea
inclined.
to the oaks that don't drink alcoholic
and you know what?
beverages?
I've never had a discount there, but
Jesus,
Not
if you
yet,
haven't had-
yeah.
If you haven't had a discount, then no one's going to
But-
get a discount.
but she's onto something. I mean, maybe you guys could work something out. Yeah,
Yeah,
some socks for
100%.
haircuts.
But with us too, Brian is up.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's an idea.
So
Frania says there's a company called Captain Frank, and they manage your claim for the delays. So
Yeah.
Captain Frank, check it out. Dahlia says UK compensation is only going to drive the ticket costs up. Low-cost carriers run on such a tight schedule. One delay early in the day, and the financial repercussions will be massive. 100%.
definitely.
I'm not on the side of the passengers with this. Just to be clear, I know how difficult it is for these airlines to actually make a margin. So yeah, very, very difficult. Another comment here. Ment Estrom, I like your authenticity and honesty, guys, especially when you do not know the answer to a question, which is obviously quite often for you and me. True, natural, and unscripted conversation. Awesome. Thanks, Ment. That means a lot to us. Really,
we do
really
appreciate
it.
that. Yeah.
Allegheny, previously a gap in our CV was a real negative from our recent experience. 3 interview processes is a lot less for now, what you mentioned earlier on.
Yeah.
Marcel, LinkedIn also gives insight to what skilled recruiters are searching for. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly that. You know what they're after. So you've got to be on there.
It's an underutilized tool, LinkedIn.
Yep. Caroline, obviously she's moaning about load shedding. They've obviously been hit.
Oh,
We're lucky we got through this today. Load
Yeah.
shedding in South Africa started again. Can you believe it?
Yeah. No, look, it's getting harder and harder to be patient with that. But
Yeah.
it's something we just got to deal with and
live with.
accept. And
So what are we going to do, Ryan? Are we going to commit, I think, to this 5 o'clock slot?
Yeah,
Quite like it.
we have to.
However, there might be the odd morning where it's early because of load shedding.
Yeah. And
So-
forgive us for that.
And
I mean,
forgive us for that. You might just have to deal with us on that one.
Yeah.
There's not much we can do about it.
Yeah. But our whole thing is to try and remain consistent. So 1 show a week you will get.
Oh, yeah, you're going to get 1 show, unfortunately for you. But
Yeah, you're gonna have to listen to these.
Yeah.
For
It's
a
all
while.
we'll
it's
have to
okay, we
phone
can.
Keeks beforehand. Keeks,
Yeah.
any aviation news I can talk on the show?
As long as you put me in the credits, I'll take it.
Yeah,
Legit.
Keeks, when people want to get hold of you,
So you can contact me straight through the store. There's a chat right in there, or you can contact me on Keegan. So it's KEEGAN at the Flying Sox, or you can contact me on any of the social medias by DM, and
Cool.
I'll make sure that I get to every single one of you because you're all important to me.
a lot of oaks sliding into your DMs.
Not again.
No, I enjoyed it today. Thanks, Keeks. It was great to have you on. And
Thanks, gents. Thanks for the
very
opportunity.
proud of you and what you've done, and long may it continue, man.
Nah, thank you guys. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Loved
Ryan,
it, boys.
I'll see you next week.
God wait, man.
Cool.
Cheers,
Cheers,
guys.
Oh wait, one thing.
Yeah.
Let's tell people about our shutdown checklist, right? Because I think a lot of people maybe tune off right now. So Ryan and I have this thing where, with our sort of skill set and professionalism, we often go home and then lay in bed and then wonder, why did I say that? Or why didn't I say this? So we have a bit of a chance to reflect. It's obviously Thursday evening now. So on Friday morning, we get together rather early and we come back into the studio and we have a bit of a chat, and we're going to say, Ryan, what did you take out of the show? And what did you want to say? What should have you said? And we're actually in a little bit of a different frame of mind at that point, because it's early in the morning. We've got a work day ahead, but we've also got a weekend ahead. Friday is always your favorite day. So we're in a nice frame of mind. We have a little bit of a chat together, a bit of a review of ourselves and what we said the day before. Now, obviously, that goes out on the audio version of the podcast. The audio version is our bread and butter. As much as we love, the people commenting here, it makes it for us, that collaboration of the people adding in. But if you want to hear the shutdown checklist and you want to listen to our little review of our own show the next day, then you're going to need the audio version. And where do you find that audio version, Ryan?
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all of the audio platforms available out there.
All of them, Amazon Music, whatever you use. Yeah, that's where you'll find us. And so a little bit extra on top of the video version, those of you that are watching on the video. So I quite like it. I like the vibe. I like actually getting back in the studio the next day and then saying, I can't believe I said that. I shouldn't have said this. And
I do that quite often, and I mean, we've done it 2 weeks in a row now, and it's just cool. It's awesome to get back into the studio the next morning, and then like have that dig at what you may or may not have said.
Yeah, it also gives us a chance to pick up the drop balls that might have happened during the show.
Funny enough, quick one, but before we shut down here, but listening to last week's show, I couldn't believe how many times I said ridiculous. You remember in the beginning when we started this and we had that one show where we said absolutely, like 39 times. Well, I like a bit of self-criticism from last week, but when I was listening, I'm like, how many times did I say ridiculous?
But it's also nice for the people that are listening to us to know that we are actively trying to improve the show and improve the way we present the show.
So we know
thanks
when
for
we've been a
with
knob
us,
and not.
which is most of the time. And that shutdown checklist gives us a chance to rectify all of that. Can't do the show without you. You guys are legends. Love you to bits. And listen to that audio version. If you like it, give us a 5-star rating, which you can on Spotify now. Until next week, everyone. Keeks, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks, Chancellor.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Bye for now.
Ciao.